A wood-stringed instrument is essentially a box of air. The sound mechanism depends on the ways in which the various pieces of wood transfer the vibrational energy of the strings into the box of air and out the sound hole.
Tuning is one of the most fascinating things, trying to come up with the optimal balance.
Luthier Patrick Olmsted of Gabriola Guitars has spent years listening to how various kinds of wood resonate and learning how they transfer that energy into the sound quality of a variety of wood string instruments. Patrick had studied woodworking in school and learned more about the craftsmanship under the tutelage of a gunsmith. His journey into creating beautiful wooden instruments started after he learned to play a guitar.
I was really fascinated by the music, but I was also really fascinated by the instruments and the woods and the construction, and so it was kind of, they went hand in hand for me. I actually was on a tour down the coast, and we were billeted in a place called Pistol River, Oregon, and I brought back a big chunk of myrtle wood, and I made my first instrument out of that.
In the early 1980s, Patrick trained at the Guitar Institute of Technology in Hollywood, California, and was able to learn from and work alongside many professional musicians, and later in his career went on to study to become a luthier.
I learned some Spanish guitar making in Hollywood when I lived there as a man named Candelario Delgado, and he made the guitars for Los Lobos and Jose Feliciano, and that was very. I learned a lot from him when I lived there. I later I was able to really seriously apprentice. I had apprenticed with a fella that was a Viennese craftsman, and he was really interesting. Adolf Gratzer, Mr. Adolf, we used to call him, and he did work for people like Keith Richards, and it was pretty intense. A lot of the knowledge that we have in Canada came from craftspeople that moved here, the old school.
Patrick's inspiration for the types of wooden string instruments he crafts are influenced by the Spanish and Portuguese explorers who settled in the Gulf Islands and brought their guitars, ukuleles, and lutes with them.
What I'm most interested in is to create instruments that exist here, that come from this particular area. And I'm trying to use materials that grow here. And I try to use influences that come from here. So, with Gabriola, we have amazing yew wood and beautiful maples and cascara and dogwood, and people don't know these. This is local wood, local maple. My neighbor is just in the process of cutting some arbutus, and he has a few pieces left that he knows that I want. And yeah, sometimes it's the customer. Sometimes I have the opportunity to have an artist that wants very specific attributes to. They really want to hear a certain voice in an instrument, and they want and so that is a real incentive to up my game and try to get something that someone else wants. And that's really the most fun. I mean, Eric Bearclaw, there's some really interesting artists here that can do amazing things with guitars.
Many of Patrick's instruments are adorned with artistic embellishments, intricate and delicate carvings done by his skilled hands that add beauty but do not change the sound quality. His instruments are sought after by Canadian and international artists.
I'm usually the most interested in the one I'm building right now. I love the wood. I love the smell and the texture and the sound of it, and I like the process of making it.
Patrick has trained a number of apprentices over the years. He hosts workshops and hopes to keep the art of handcrafted guitar making alive for generations to come. For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Annette Lucas.